this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, welcome. Happy Easter to everyone that is listening. I know that we probably have 1 million listeners across the country. WABC Radio, the most listened to radio station in the nation. And we had earlier some TSA representatives from the union. These people represent 44,000 TSA agents nationwide. These are the people that basically keep us safe. Sometimes we go through inconveniences at the airport, but it's all for the better and the safety of our country. They left, so now we're going to turn it over to Germaine Zayas. Germaine is the executive director of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers. So welcome, Germaine.
Thank you for having me, Fernando, and happy Easter.
Okay, happy Easter to you as well. I also, before we get into speaking about cab drivers and the high price of gas and all of that, I'd like to really thank our sponsors. We've had a lot of people wanting to sponsor this show, No Excuses. And to be quite honest with you, I am very, very grateful for those that I personally selected, which is Century Management Solutions, Pro Health, Asako Filas law firm, probably one of the best law firms out there for personal injury. They're not advertising everywhere. They're very conservative, but they're extremely good. And of course, Safer Watch, who donated 50 panic buttons to United Bodegas of America, so that when bodega owners were being robbed or shot at or assaulted, they could press a button and NYPD would be notified immediately. So I want to thank my sponsors very much. Also, I want to take a minute to say thank you to Key Food for coming on board and helping the TSA agents at the time that they really needed it. Marvin Cruz, who has 4 supermarkets in the Bronx. Richie Almonte, who has 12 supermarkets in Brooklyn and Queens. They came through and they really helped out these agents in a time of need. But right now we're going to switch it back to another industry that's going through very, very tough times, and that is the cab drivers in New York City. We know there's about 180,000 cab drivers in New York. Am I correct?
Correct.
Germaine?
That is
right. And these people, their job is to drive their vehicle. Their job is to be on the road 24/7. Okay. So I don't think anyone in this city gasses up more than a cab driver. Okay. And, listen, gasoline right now is up. We know that it's up because of, what's going on with Iran. It's up about $1 plus per gallon, which means every time a cab driver fills up a tank, it's probably an additional $30, $20 to $40, right? Depending on the vehicle that they have. Correct. How are they managing? What are you hearing right now, Germaine? What's going on?
Well, as we all know, rising gas prices are hitting everybody in the pocket, especially taxi drivers. And at the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers, on a daily basis, we're fielding calls and inquiries from drivers asking us what, if anything, we can do to either get subsidies or to just ease the pain a little bit and offer them some relief.
Well, go ahead.
Thankfully, over the last couple of weeks, the Federation has been able to enter into a strategic alliance with a pretty large gasoline distributor that is offering significant discount to Federation members at a number of locations, about 35 to 40 locations in the boroughs. So that's one step forward that we're taking towards trying to minimize the pain on their pockets.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know if the pain is really falling on them. I think the pain is falling on the riders.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the people that are ordering the ride shares.
Sure.
You know, the Ubers, the Lyfts, and those that are doing medical transportation, and those that are doing other government type transportation programs, right?
Right.
These people are the ones feeling it more, because when I took an Uber from LaGuardia to the Bronx, literally a 15-minute ride, it cost me $50.
Yep.
$50.
Yep.
Okay, I keep taking, into consideration it is Easter Sunday,
sure.
So there may be less drivers out on the road, but I mean, the price surging that's going on is crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
And we need to make sure that, the rideshare companies don't take advantage of the situation, okay, and start charging riders an excessive amount of money.
Which is exactly what we're seeing. It's happening.
It's happening
every single day.
Okay, and who's complaining to you about that?
Oh, drivers primarily. We have had plenty of people like yourself and like myself who take rideshare company or rideshare rides, reaching out, because ultimately what's happening is a lot of drivers are staying in. They're saying they would like to work, but the increased costs are preventing them from coming out, which is shrinking the pool of available drivers and essentially costing more per ride.
You know what we're telling drivers to do, and for all those cab drivers that are listening in right now, is try to gas up in the outer boroughs. Go to the Bronx, go to Queens, go to Brooklyn. Gas is a lot cheaper than trying to gas up here in Manhattan. Unless you go up to Washington Heights. Gasoline up there is also very, it's low compared to what it is in lower Manhattan.
For sure.
So it's important that you try to gas up in the outer boroughs and, don't gas up in Manhattan, because you're gonna get killed.
For sure.
And the other thing that we need to let drivers know is that there are many other type of opportunities for them to make a living.
Correct.
They don't need to work for rideshare companies to make good money. There are government subsidized programs, like medical transportation, non-emergency medical transportation. Drivers are making probably the same amount of money or more working for doing non-emergency medical transportation. So if drivers want to find out about that, what do they need to do, Germaine?
So the non-emergency medical transport industry is growing exponentially. The Federation has tapped into several transportation providers that handle a significant volume of these rides. And we urge any driver that's interested in expanding their opportunity or their access to work to reach out to us directly or go onto our website at nysftd.com. And all information is there. If they want to reach out to me personally, I can provide you my number, so that we can assist them and grant them more work in these tough times.
Well, let them go to nysftd.com and they can find out more information as to how they can get work that is non-rideshare related that pays very well.
That's right.
And I don't know why it is that they don't know about these programs. I think that, we need to do a better job letting drivers know that there are ways for them to make a better living. But gasoline doesn't look like it's going to be going down anytime soon.
It certainly does not.
We're hoping the president is going to put an end to all this whole thing, and hopefully gas prices will come back to where they used to be. In the meantime, it's another very important issue here is how many rides are these drivers doing? Do you think that they're getting less rides now because gasoline and rideshare prices are much higher?
What we're seeing is that they're taking less rides from the rideshare, simply because although there's work available, they're too afraid to spend the money on this gas. Their prices are going through the roof.
Switching off of this topic right now, Germaine, I want to speak about Isaac, the cab driver that was murdered in the Bronx. He was shot in the head by an undocumented Dominican immigrant.
Correct.
That shot him. He's 52 years old, I believe, has 4 children.
Correct.
This guy, Troncoso, left to the Dominican Republic.
Correct.
Got on a plane and left to the Dominican Republic. He's been there for 3 months now.
Correct.
3 months.
Correct.
They arrested him there for something some crime he committed in the Dominican Republic.
Correct.
And then they released the guy.
In the Dominican
and
Republic.
they did not hold him and extradite him.
Correct.
Okay. I called up the district attorney of the Bronx. I spoke to her. I've spoken to NYPD, the detectives, and I'm saying, what is going on? Why isn't there an extradition order in place to bring this guy back to the U.S. to pay for the crime he committed?
Correct.
And guess what? The Dominican government said that they had no knowledge that this individual had killed somebody here and was wanted in New York.
Correct.
What can you tell me about that?
Well, I can tell you that I've been working closely, very closely, with the NYPD on this. And ironically, when this happened, when the arrest happened in early March, I was actually boots on the ground in the Dominican Republic when this happened. And I was in touch with the local authorities. I was in touch with the FBI. I was in touch with Interpol. And it all basically wound down to the fact that the district attorney's office, the Department of Justice here, or the FBI here has not issued an extradition order for this individual to come back. And we're concerned about this because had this been a higher profile incident, had this been, I don't know, a politician locally, an NYPD officer, God forbid, or anything else along those lines, we feel that there would have been swifter justice and a swifter movement and action on this.
Listen, if God forbid this would have been a cop killer,
correct,
he would have been apprehended almost the day. He probably would have never left the country.
That's right.
Number one. Number two, if he left the country, they would have caught him and they would have extradited him back into the U.S. To face criminal charges. Right.
Correct.
In the meantime, I believe that there's different standards for different people.
Clearly.
If you're a cab driver, you know what? Whenever we catch you, we catch you.
Right.
If you killed someone, a politician or whomever else it is, hey, we're going to catch you right away and we're going to, do swift justice here,
Correct.
right? It's unfair. You've got to treat everyone equally. And that's what's really bothering us and hurting the family the most.
Of course.
The fact that this guy was apprehended, he was located, apprehended, locked up. While he was in custody, we contacted the Dominican authorities and told them, don't release the guy because he's wanted in the U.S. for murder, for shooting a cab driver.
Correct.
And they basically said they had no petition, they had no knowledge, they knew nothing about the crime he had committed here in the United States. How could that happen?
It's preposterous. And considering the fact that taxi drivers in New York serve such a crucial role, they play such an important role in moving around millions of people every day, I believe it's time for us to stop treating, or the city or the state to stop treating taxi drivers as second-rate citizens and give them the proper due and the attentions necessary, especially in issues like this and other safety initiatives that we're working on.
We also have a lot of issues with the community that these drivers serve.
For sure.
Okay, they serve communities that have desert zones, right, where there's no mass transportation.
Correct.
And they need to get people from point A to point B. And right now there's really no plates available for drivers to actually do this kind of work. Right. So I want to speak about that when we come back.
Sure.
I know that we need to take a commercial break, get our sponsors out in the air, and make things good for them. Hey, here we're back with Fernando Mateo, which is me, and my show, which is called No Excuses. I'm here with my guest, Germaine Zayas. He's the executive director of the New York State Federation of Taxi Drivers, and we're having a conversation about high gas prices, how the riders are ultimately paying for this, how it cost me $50 to take a 15-minute ride from LaGuardia to the Bronx, literally right at the foot of the Bronx. And what are we doing to make sure that drivers are being helped? What's the Federation doing? And we know that, as he explained, the Federation's putting programs in place to make things easier and better, and hopefully getting a better, lower prices for gasoline.
Discounted rates on
discounted
gas.
rates. Yeah. So what can you tell me about the lack of, we know that there's about 180,000 drivers in New York City.
Correct.
There's only 100,000 license plates in the city.
Correct.
And probably 30% of those plates are owned by private corporations.
Correct.
Okay. It's not even drivers themselves that own the plates, right? It's owned by people that put the plate on a car and then lease the vehicle to a driver.
Correct.
A lot of the times the drivers can't afford the prices that these leasing companies are charging them weekly because insurance is very expensive. Mm-hmm. The vehicle payments are expensive. It's not that these corporations are ripping them off. It's just that the cost of them maintaining and having this type of operation is expensive.
Correct.
Ultimately, the driver winds up paying $500, $600, $700, $800 a week.
Correct.
For the rental of those vehicles. What happens to the people that can't afford rideshare and need to go from one doctor to another, to another, to another? What type of programs are out there that provide this service? And are there enough vehicles to provide the service?
Well, that falls under the category of non-emergency medical transport work. And what we've been doing is we've had ongoing conversations both with the former TLC commissioner as well as the incoming TLC commissioner to see if we can have a separate category of plate created and designated specifically for people who have exactly those needs in the non-emergency medical transport space.
In other words, we're asking for plates.
Correct.
That would only allow the drivers to do this type of work.
That dedicated work.
Government dedicated work.
Correct.
Right? And these jobs pay well. They pay the drivers well. Am I correct?
Very, very, very well.
Okay.
Comparable, if not better than a lot of the rates that they're seeing in the rideshare programs.
Really? Okay. So what is it that needs to be done in order for us to get those plates designated specifically to help the people that can't afford it? Okay. The government pays, the state pays, and the federal government pays for non-emergency medical transportation, which means it takes someone that can't afford a ride to and from the hospital.
Correct.
To and from the doctor, right?
Correct.
So that they can keep their appointments and stay healthy.
Correct.
Okay. So there's an abundance of these rides every day, but there are no plates
for the drivers
designated for the drivers to do this work.
Correct.
So a lot of the drivers, what you're saying is a lot of the drivers prefer to do rideshare and not this type of work because they feel they can make more money doing the rideshare.
That's their thought process.
Not knowing that the NEMT work pays just as much, if not better.
Correct. And ultimately, like I said, we've had these conversations with the TLC family, seeing how we can get either plates that are not being used or have plates, a category of plates created in order for this work as well. But there's also ongoing communication with the city council, and the chair of the transportation committee, because obviously there's, a little bit.
Who is that councilman? Because I'd like to have him here as a guest.
Sean Abreu.
Sean Abreu. Okay. We'd like to know what is it that these high-ranking council members, assemblymen, or senators that have to do with transportation, what are they doing to help cab drivers make a living?
Correct. That's what we're working on.
Yeah. What is it that they're doing to actually help their community?
Correct.
Because it's people in the poor, in the poorest communities that need these rides, right?
Correct.
That need to get from point A to point B. Correct. And they don't have the facility to do that.
They don't have access to it. And that's what we're asking our elected officials to help us essentially cut through the red tape and make the process a little bit more efficient, a little bit easier, a little bit more streamlined in order for us to gain access to those plates, give it to the drivers who are willing to do the work and get them on the road.
In other words, it's not like if you're giving more taxi plates to the general public, right?
Right.
This would be specifically just for the drivers that are willing to help their community and the state get people to and from where they need to
Correct.
go.
Not only willing, but also eligible and that fill all requirements. Because, of course, considering the fact that these are federally funded dollars, there's certain mandates and certain requirements that they have to fill into. And those people willing to do that work, that's who we're trying to get those places to.
Okay, it's important that we speak about this because there's a lot of people that need to get to dialysis, that need to get to a specialist because of injury or because of old age, and they need to get from point A to point B, and a lot of the times they're left out in the cold. They can't get to their appointment because there aren't enough drivers
Correct.
doing this type of work. Sure. So we need to fix that, Germaine. Listen, I want to thank you for being here. Is there any message that you want to give? What website is it that the drivers need to go on in order to see what you're offering?
Any and all TLC drivers that are interested in seeking additional employment opportunities, take a look at NYSFTD. That's NYSFTD.com. All our information is there, and we are more than willing to extend and connect any and all additional opportunities to you.
Thank you, Germaine. Now, switching the topic, I told you in my first show that I would share a little bit about who I am every week on this show, No Excuses. I mentioned to you that at the age of 14, I dropped out of school. I went to flooring school. I learned how to lay floor coverings. Since then, by the time I was 21, by the time I was 17, I was married. By the time I was 21, I was a millionaire. I was a multimillionaire because of my hard work, my energy, because I had no excuses, and all I needed to do was work hard. And there was no reason that I would fail because I put my heart into it. I don't know if you guys know that for 8 years during the Bush administration, I was one of the commissioners at the White House for the education department. And I got there only because I always had a dream of being able to meet the president, serve the country, because of all of the good things that have come to me. And I had that opportunity during the George W. Bush's administration. And in order to get there, I was confirmed by the Senate. I was sworn in by Colin Powell, and I was issued a huge certificate, which it hangs on my walls, saying that, Fernando Mateo is a commissioner for the United States of America. And that was a huge honor for me. The biggest honor that I have, as I've mentioned in the past, is being an immigrant and owing everything that I have to this country. My parents arrived here in 1950. And since 1950, my parents were model citizens. I wasn't born here because I was the last of the 10 children, and I was born in the Dominican Republic because my parents, my father, was forced to have my mother fly to the Dominican Republic because of a mandate from the dictator there at the time, Rafael Trujillo. But after I was born in 58, my family flew back down to New York, and I grew up in the Lower East Side, and I shared most of my life, with an amazing, family, my 10 brothers and sisters, my mom, my dad. We lived on Clinton Street in a 1-bedroom apartment, all of us. And listen, it was tight, but it was family. I was able to get out of there, and here I am today. My biggest asset is being in the United States of America. I'd give it all up to do it all over again. And I want to thank America for making me who I am. And I want every Latino out there to know that you have an opportunity in this country. You're here as a guest. Be a good example. Do the right thing. Make sure that you give back to your community. There's a lot of us that have succeeded, but a lot of us don't give back, and we need to do that. We need to set the example. We need to make sure that everyone in America knows that we came here for a good cause. And that's what this is all about. That's what No Excuses is all about. I want to thank everyone once again. I want to wish you all a happy and a healthy Easter. And God bless you, and we'll be speaking next week.
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.